Yo, what's good guys, VENM here, back from the video, and today me bringing you guys my full gun trips tight end offensive ebook. Before we get into the video, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. About 75% of my viewers aren't subscribed, so if you're enjoying the content, want me to make more videos, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. With that being said, let's hop into the trips tight end ebook. So trips tight end, it's a top 3 passing formation pretty much every year, and again this year it's my favorite formation so far in the game. The reason for that is it is very strong against man coverage. There's a lot of great stock plays in it as well, so you don't necessarily need 2,000 abilities to make the offense usable. One ability that you will need for this offense, and I'll just say it early, is you need tight end apprentice. So the teams in regs that get tight end apprentice are the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the San Francisco 49ers. That is an ability you need, and the reason you need it is specifically because of man coverage. It's also very good to have against zone, but you need that post route from the tight end specifically. So make sure that you have that. In Ultimate Team right now, at the time of recording, Jermichael Finley is the only player that gets it. So if you're serious about running trips, go pick him up. But with that being said, let's hop into our audibles. This formation I'm running is in the Las Vegas Raiders offensive playbook, but the plays I'm running, I'm not going to be using any specific playbook plays. You can pretty much run this out of Patriots or any trips really with these plays. So setting my audibles, I already have them set. I got PA counter go, inside zone, and I leave pretty much the latter 3 just normally. I'm also going to be going over double in sail as well as PA shot post and this inside cross play. So we got a lot of plays and tons of variety in the playbook. And yeah, let's just jump straight into it. PA counter go. Like I mentioned though, we're going to be getting a heavy dose of man coverage, and with the man coverage, a lot of times the coaching adjustments, they might go up to 25, so I'll just try and show you guys a variety of looks with the man coverage and try and mix in some zone as well. But the first setup on defense I'm just going to run is going to be the base setup just like this. Now, if you guys ever wonder why I'm using the D-line user that I'm going to be on, it is so his icon doesn't just show up, because he has like some stupid pass rush move icon that will just completely cover my routes on offense, which is super dumb by EA, but so that's why I'm spying him every play. But again, here's a look at the defensive setup I'm going to be running pretty much every time when I run man coverage. It's very popular, and then they will typically user him. Obviously, I'm just going to go on the D-line though. Alright, let's hop into our first setup though. It's going to be a very quick snap heavy. Usually my first setups are pretty much quick snap heavy, especially for the more popular plays. So what I'm going to do is just put A on a post, Y on a drag, block my running back, and then hike the ball. You got 2 man coverage beaters. You got the post route that's going to beat man coverage, and then you have the crosser that's going to beat man coverage. Both those are covered. You got the drag, so the only way that he would really be able to defend that per se is if he went ahead and were to actually go ahead and use the post route and then have his zone drop set to like 30 to defend the crossing route. But typically, if he has his curl flats on default, the crossing route is so deep that it will get over the top of that curl flat. I'll show it next play. And also something for the offense, I like to have fast guys on the outside and then have more of a possession type guy on the inside. Rieger is still decently fast, so we have him to work with. So again, A on a post, Y on a drag. You can set this up very, very quickly and just go ahead, hike the ball. But look at that, man coverage against the crosser absolutely torches it. And I know Marquise Goodwin has very fast speed. Don't let that trick you. I've had Andre Johnson, 85 speed in Ultimate Team, burn, AJ Terrell on that crossing route. So it's not a speed thing. It's just how quick the route is. It should always beat man coverage unless there's a big speed or overall difference from the cornerback and the receiver. So again, one last time, A on a post, Y on a drag. And I think that time I even forgot to put the curl flats there, but it still was able to get pretty open. And again, sometimes if the curl flats are like 30 or whatever, that drag route will get open. But be careful about the post. You won't really be able to throw it late. It's one of those things where you see him using Goodwin and then you'll throw the post. You want to throw it sort of inside the numbers, I would say, unless they have a hard flat or whatever the case may be. And keep in mind, Zach Ertz, he's very slow, so he might not even burn the man coverage a lot of the times. But it is one of those things that some other players will burn it, like a Travis Kelce or a Kittle. Any of those will burn it as well, and he still does get open. So Moving on to our next setup, we got just A on a post. I'm going to throw a Y on a zig route and X on a drag. With this setup, what I like to do is I actually like to motion snap D-Jack. So I'm going to motion him in and then hike him. Now, typically some weird stuff happens with this when you do that, but then again, that's what happens when you motion. A lot of times the cornerbacks will flip. So you notice that outside cornerback right here, this guy, he's going to end up being cross-manned onto Deshaun Jackson, even if I motion snap him, as early as that. So it is sort of annoying things like that, you kind of have to deal with. And even though that happens, a lot of times there's a way to prevent that. So if they prevent it, then these setups are good to go. But again, if you want an easy way to prevent that, just throw X on an out route and then throw Y on the drag. And now take a look at it. I'm going to motion D-Jacks in. We get the cross man. I can hike the ball, and there's going to be pretty much nobody over there besides the curl flat. They turn the curl flats to 25 yards, and it's pretty much a wrap. All right, moving on to setup number 3, what I like to do is throw, again, you'll notice something that is a theme on pretty much every play against man coverage is I'm putting A on a post. Regardless of anything, even if it is zone or man, I'm putting him on a post. Just a very nice thing to have, and without it, it would just be very difficult to move the football. So I'm going to throw A on a post. What I'm also going to do is throw Y on a drag. I'm going to put RB on a little option route, and then I'm going to leave X on a streak. So here's a look at our setup. Also, one thing I did is I just went to my coaching adjustments, turned zone drops or curl flats to 25. They were playing a little bit more underneath than they would online, so I want to give you a realistic feel. So what you do in this case is I'm going to motion Jalen Reagor over, and it's going to look like this. You're going to motion him over, you're going to motion hike him like that. You have multiple man beaters. Look at the drag route motioned over against the man coverage, absolutely kills it. You saw that play. We had the post, we had the drag, and then it's option route. I kind of want to highlight. It's very good. Miles Sanders is a pretty good fit for this, I would say. In the case that he is able to be a fast receiving threat with high route running. Typically, your player should be able to burn a linebacker on this little option route. It is a little bit slow breaking, but nonetheless, there should be enough separation. So again, here's the setup: Y on a drag, and A on a post, and RB on this option. Take a look at the option. You can lowball, and usually they will be able to burn man coverage. Again, Sanders, they did sort of make him a low overall, so typically he should be able to get separation. If not, you're still moving a player out of the way. So again, here's one last look at that. We got Y on a drag, and again, for this setup, pretty much you want to just actually bait him into using this little crossing route. So the crossing route is going to be defended by the zone drops, but you want him to user it, and that's when you get him to user it, then you can throw the drag or that post route. Both will be pretty much wide open. And that time I think I accidentally just spied both the cornerback or both the safeties instead of putting them in curl flats, but that post route will still be open within the numbers. And yeah, let's just hop into our last setup now. So our last setup is going to be, again, post 8, and you're going to just zig Y. And then what I like to do is, it's pretty much one of those setups that I already talked about. Pretty much the only difference is that you're going to put X on a streak now instead of a drag. And what you'll do right here is you'll just motion them across the formation. This opens up the crosser a little bit. It's not the best against man, but against zone it is pretty good. Right there you see no curl flat. That crosser is going to be wide open. If there is a curl flat, what you can also do is just go ahead and maybe throw D-Jacks on a little out route, and then you can do that, or some sort of man beating route. Maybe I keep the option like this. There's a lot that you can do with this play, so really just mix it up. And again, people won't necessarily run that man coverage every play. I've had people who run man coverage a lot, but they'll end up mixing it up, so it's never a bad idea to keep some of these zone beaters. Here I'll just run a base cover 3 and show you how well it succeeds against just base coverage. So I'll just set up that same setup we were running. Here's a look at our play art, and then you just motion Deshaun over. You got the option, you got the zig, you got the post, and the crosser. This isn't something I actually wrote down in my ebook, but again, there's a lot you can do that you don't necessarily have to look at the ebook. Look at that. Just saw cover 3. The zig route's going to be wide open. Post route was wide open. Crosser, obviously defended, but this player was wide open as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for P8 counter go. I know I spent a lot of time on that play, but that is my favorite play out of the formation. and I wanted to cover that fully. So let's just move on to the next play. I'm just going to talk about simple inside zone briefly. Inside zone, I always like to have a run in my audibles. With the inside zone, what you want to do, every time you run it, make sure that you are running it with your trips on the left side. That is key. And that's only if you have a right-handed quarterback. There's no lefties in the game besides Tua, so if you have Tua, run your trips on the right side when you run inside zone. But the reason I say that is it's just a faster animation. Look how fast Wentz is going to get rid of the ball. It's very fast, and try to fall down. Of course, you can't this year, but you saw how fast that was. Take a look. If I go ahead and just flip the formation really quick, take a look at how long the handoff is. And this will pretty much be the difference between getting hit in the backfield and picking up a ton of yards. Look how slow that is. It's very slow. There's a noticeable difference in the two plays. So I always like to just run it there. Boom. Quick handoff. No one's able to shoot the gap. Even if they get a shed, you're picking up 3 or 4 yards. So again, inside zone, I'm not going to talk about it too much. This is a very pass-heavy playbook or ebook and game. But I wanted to throw it in there just to talk about that little factor a little bit. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the verticals play. Now, verticals, just this first setup, this base setup is probably, verticals has always been better against cover 3 and cover 2 than man coverage. This corner route will burn the man coverage, but pretty much all of these other routes won't do anything against them. What I like to do is put B on this little zig route, and then you can just sort of snap the ball from there. So here's a look at my setup. I can run this just pretty much a base man coverage. With the curl flats, you'll see the corner routes pretty much not going to be open, but if their curl flats are, 25 yards, if they're playing super far over the top, which sometimes they will have to do because that crosser gets open on that exact same side, and this corner route, you don't want to smart route it because of how short it is, so make sure you don't smart route, leave it how it is, like the 7-yard break that it is, and then throw B on a zig. A lot of times this zig will attract the user. If it doesn't, of course, then you are kind of in a predicament. But still, you can probably make something happen. So again, here's a look at the setup. We'll snap the ball, the zig route, boom, you can actually burn man coverage, throw that over the top. Usually this year you actually kind of want to lob those little zig routes, and the reason for that is if you bullet them, there's a lot of great pickoff animations in man coverage where they will be 5 yards behind you and they will be able to get animation because of the angle that you throw it at. So be careful about that. A lot of times those quick outs and zigs I have been lobbing or touch passing this year. But again, if they have their curl flat super high, which a lot of people do, trust me, if they run it stock, you can just kill them with the crosser and they will turn their things up. But look at the corner. It's going to kill the man coverage as you've seen, and it's going to be just underneath the curl flat to where it will pick it up. If you were to smart route it, and then I put the curl flat over there, won't necessarily be covered, but take a look at just how much it's defended, and this isn't even the right play, and I even had an out route, but you could see how if that were cutting up field. I'll just set up really quickly here. Geez, it's pretty annoying how EA didn't put in a feature where you can sort of save adjustments. If what I mean by that is, see, look at that, I throw it, there's a curl flat sort of in the area. I know I could have sort of lowballed, pass let outside, but it's just not as open as it is non-smart routed. So that was the first setup. Moving on to our second setup. Out of the verticals play, what we're going to do is, again, we're throwing our running back on a wheel. What we do here is we put B on an out route, and I'm going to put X on a slant. So it's going to look like this. What I do here is I motion Deshaun Jackson all the way across the formation to give us a corner route that's going to beat man, and then this slant route. The out route's also pretty decent, but look at that slant route, always very good against man coverage every year, and again this year it's even better with the motion so that you're not getting pressed at all or you have to worry about that. Again, look at that setup. I could also throw B on a zig route that you will have a little bit more success against man coverage, but you've seen even if I forget to set up my adjustments, look at this slant route. It's going to be very good, even set. And if he uses the slant, you got the corner. If he uses the corner, you got the slant. Two solid beaters. All right, guys, moving on to our last setup of verticals. What you want to do is pretty much run it the exact same as the first setup. The only difference here is that you're going to put X on an in route. You're going to leave B as the same. So the way you beat cover 2 is you're going to motion this seam route to the outside, and it'll act as a fade, and it will get sort of to the side of that cloud flat. So we're going to run it with Rieger here. We want to wait till he's set and then hike the ball sort of to the outside. But take a look at that. Pass lead outside, and he's going to be wide open. And if that doesn't work, something that you could also do is maybe you put A on a little streak route, and you sort of stretch the deep half to the complete right side, and you can sometimes just attack up the seams. So again, this really doesn't work, or this can also work if you're set. So you see set, and we're still able to throw that pass in. But not only is that open, it also opens up the middle route, like I was mentioning. So be careful about that. Also, something I forgot to talk about that I did is I moved my trips to the short side. If you didn't notice, that's just to have more space to fit that into Rieger, because if I were to run it, on the wide side with my trips on the wide side, just would not be open. That's something I also forgot to talk about earlier. You always want your trips on the wide side. This is the only exception out of the entire ebook. Alright guys, let's move on to PA slot corner, play action slot corner. Very, very solid stock play. You got a corner, you got a post, you got a drag, and you have another corner. So obviously all those corner routes and post routes, we're going to take advantage of them. For the first out, what I like to do is put A on this actual crossing route. Now the crossing routes, usually they go deeper. I'm not sure why some go deep and some go short. I think it's the type of play. But you want to throw A on this cross. It's very good to get over the top of zones. It's very good against man coverage as well. Zach Ertz might not burn it because he's very slow, but Jermichael Finley is absolute just godly against it in Ultimate Team, or on it per se. But again, we're running that same man coverage, and PA slot corner, we're going to put A on the cross. We're going to flat B, and then what I like to do is just streak X and put RB on an option. So it's going to look like this. You leave the post route here. You have the crosser, as I messed that up, or accidentally motioned him out, but you have the crosser with the tight end, and then you have just pretty much a couple of flat zones. Something I like to do is motion Rieger in a step, go like this. That's just going to give him a little edge, as I can't get the ball out, but you see the crosser. It sort of acts as a post route. I don't like to ever have just two posts running side by side myself, and you guys probably the same way. But again, what I'm doing is I'm just going to set it up the same way and just put B on a flat with X. You can pretty much leave him on his streak, or you can just put him on a streak. We want him as a clear out. We just don't really want him. You could also actually block him if you want. Motion him over, block him, but that's not really necessary. Again, I'll just snap the ball right there. Look at Zach Ertz against man coverage. He has just such a step early in the play. If he didn't have like 78 speed, whatever speed he has, that would just absolutely be unguardable pretty much in it. And again, man coverage, this post route will beat man coverage as well. So keep that in mind. But if, let's say, he uses one or the other, you just throw the other pass. So if he uses the post, throw the cross. If he uses the cross, throw the post. Users are so slow in this game that they won't be able to recover. So again here, post route wide open. That's a 73 overall receiver, killing the man coverage on that post. Even though it looks like a post that might not beat man coverage, it's definitely very good against the play. You can also actually smart route it to get a little bit deeper if that's what you need. If not, you can leave it the same. Doesn't make any difference really. And again, what they will have to do to stop that post or the crosser is they will probably have to do something like this, where they put him on a hook curl. If that's the case, then the crosser can actually get open late. And again, it's just a cat and mouse sort of game. You do this adjustment, your opponent does this adjustment, you do this to beat him. You just catch him in between certain adjustments, and that's really what makes the difference. You see Zach Ertz, look how much separation he had before you've seen the speed between that probably like 90 speed corner and the 78 speed tight end happen. You saw he had so much separation. I actually want to talk about it here. So even if your tight end is 5 speed less than the cornerback, look how much separation he has. Almost 5 yards of separation before really here the speed and just takes over, because they just begin to go on a little straight path. But before that, if he just continues, he's going to be wide open. It's happened against me with, Jermichael Finley 82 speed against my 88 speed safeties in man coverage. So it's just certain things like that I can't really show you here because they happen in MUT. But certain things like that do happen. The crosser is very, very solid as well. But Let's move on to our second setup here. What you want to do is just put A on an out route, put Y on a slant, and then go ahead, put X on a streak. It's going to look like this. I'm actually in the complete wrong place, so that's always great. Here's a look at the setup. Boom. What you do here is, I'm pretty sure you can guess what we're doing. We're going to motion Marquise Goodwin over on the post route, and he's going to go to work. Again, I forget to do my curl flat adjustments because EA doesn't have a feature where I can just save last play adjustments. Very annoying. EA put that in the game, but look at this. Post route's going to be man coverage. Slant route's obviously going to be man coverage. And since one's lower, one's deeper, you can see which one he's using. I would just say if he's not covering the slant, throw it, because then he's going to use the post. If he is not even in position, if he's just in the middle land, no man's land, you can obviously go up top to that little post route. But again, set up Y on a slant, A on out route. I wish you could put A on slants or zig routes. It would make the offense so much better. It would make every offense so much better. But gotta love EA putting a delay cross that nobody's used once in their lifetime in the game. But again, boom, here's the setup. You run over. Look at the post route getting wide open. And again, the only way that they will be able to stop that post route is if they throw a, RB and a hook curl, something like that. And again, you get more adjusty. That's when the one play touchdowns will open. You'll see that later in the video with one of my plays. But again, PA slot corner, very solid play. Now, I wish these post routes were a little bit better against man coverage, because sometimes I feel like they could be a little bit better, but you just got to work with what you have, truthfully, so you can't really, complain too much about it. There's Jalen Reagor again, 73 speed, getting open against the man cover, or 73 overall, not 73 speed, getting open against the man coverage. And yeah, let's move on to setup number 3. All right, setup number 3 is going to be the most advanced one. What you will do here is you're going to turn into sort of a verticals concept, but also in a post route, sense. So what you're doing, you're going to throw A on a corner out. You're going to smart out that corner, and you're going to throw RB on a wheel. Right off the bat, this is what it looks like. I know A is already on a corner out, but we want him to be on a fast breaking one, not that slow one that he's already on that will never beat man coverage. Moving on, you'll throw Y on a little zig, and then you'll streak X right here. So here's a look at the setup. What you do here, I'm sure you can guess. You're going to motion Goodwin over again, similar to the thing we just did. Again, I forget to do my adjustments. It's just annoying having to do 2 sets of adjustments for 2 controllers. But here's a look at the setup. Obviously, you want to motion Goodwin over, or motion snap him when he's going over, but you can still snap him around right there, and he should have a field day with that little post route that he is on. Again, we already talked about how that corner route can get open. And again, I also don't have to smart route it if I don't want to. But not only that, the zig route can get open as well, especially if you have abilities here, as I'm in the wrong play again. But again, you're picking between the post or the corner route. He can't defend them both. They're both running different directions. Late in the play, you can always go to maybe the zig route or whatever. But you see the corner route get open, the post route get open, the zig route typically gets open if you have a higher overall receiver. We don't have that aspect for us right now, but you've seen the play have success. Let's just move on to our next play. And again, all of those setups also beat zone coverage, cover 2, cover 3, especially with the zig routes underneath. All those underneath routes I have that kind of look useless against man coverage. They do burn it if you have higher overall receivers, like I mentioned, and if they're playing over the top, they will get open as well. So let's move on to our next play, double and sail. What might potentially be my favorite play out of the formation, actually. I run this play a ton, and it's mainly I run just one setup out of it. The setup is put A on a post, streak B, flat Y, slant X. It's going to look like this. You're going to notice I didn't say block your running back. You're going to leave Sanders on this table route. This table route, absolutely amazing against zone coverage, but also good to pull down zones, open up one Deshaun Jackson right here. So what we do is we motion D-Jax in, but we're not going to motion him over. We're going to hike him right there and look at the post route. For some reason, when I do that set of adjustments, I just notice the post route gets open, I feel like, a lot more. For whatever reason, I'm not sure why that is, but it actually does. I've noticed get a little bit more open. Maybe it's the streak here. Who knows? But again, here's a look at the adjustments. You're putting Y on a flat route. You're putting A on a post route. You're putting B on a streak. and then you're going to motion snap our boy Deshaun Jackson for the outside guy. I know a lot of people don't really run setups where they motion this guy, but I actually like using it. I feel like it's very underrated in this. And look at this slant route. He gets wide open early, but that's just because I didn't set up my cornerback adjustment. So the way you actually stop that or prevent that sort of flip from happening is you just sort your corners by speed, and that motion shouldn't really happen, I don't think. But you'll see it's just happening here because I don't have any of those more in-depth adjustments set up. Again, if they're running it stock or whatever, then even better. But again, obviously, if they go upstairs, it's your field day, it's your treat, because you can attack the flats. Like, for example, stock cover 3, running the exact same setup. And again, I could also run this stock without a motion, but the reason I like to just use the motion is to get that slant closer so that it's not as long developing. But look, cover 3, that fly route is just wide open. We could take our 12, 13 yards. Very, very good play. This is probably my favorite play out of the whole offense against zone coverage. Against man, probably not the best play because of how some of those things happen, but still very solid. And if I wanted to sort of not have to do any motion, I could just put B on a slant, Y on the flat, and X on the streak, run it like this. Again, this could also be sort of a non-tell. A lot of the plays you don't motion, and if you motion X over, sometimes that can be a tell if you know what that means. But again, B on the slant right here, he's just going to beat the man coverage right there. For some reason, we get an inaccurate pass, not sure why. It is what it is. But let's move on to our next setup out of the doubles and sail. This setup I don't really run too much myself, but I'm still going to talk about it. For this one, you're going to block A, you're going to slant Y, and then you're going to put X on an out route. It's going to look like this. What you do, I'm sure you can guess. Again, you're going to motion Goodwin over on the post. Pretty much this, you're just blocking one extra player. Pretty simple. What you're doing is you're just blocking your tight end, and then you have Goodwin on the post instead of just having a streak that's doing nothing. Now, this post route isn't necessarily the best against man coverage, but it still can work. And again, here's a look at the setup. Motion him over. And again, this post route is very good against zone coverage as well. So not only will it beat man coverage, but it can also beat zone coverage, as right there. I don't know how there were 20 zones. I guess the person that was manned up on the tight end actually helped out on that slant route, but it is what it is. Typically, this play is very good against zone coverage because you don't want the table in the slant. Especially, that's why I like motioning Deshaun Jackson in so the slant doesn't run to the same area as the flat. Definitely messes you up a little bit, but for this one, you're sort of trying to throw it before it even gets outside the numbers, so it's not too much of an issue. I'll show it one last time here. Here's a look at the setup. You motion Goodwin over, but normally I would say smart route him, but look what happens when you smart route him. It turns into just some weird thing that's pretty much another slant route, but worse. So you kind of got to leave him there. If I were to run cover 3 here, you would see that Goodwin's going to get open. I guess I can't motion hike now. Goodwin would be open, as well as the slant table route's going to be open, but I'll just show it with Goodwin. Look at that. Cover 3, cover 2. He's going to be wide open. And yeah, let's move on to our next play. Alright guys, here we are in our second to last play of the ebook, inside cross. Now this play I didn't even know about until somebody who was running trips against me actually ran it on me, and they scored 2 touchdowns against my man coverage width. So inside cross, here's a look at the play art. Looks like one of the most basic plays you could ever have in an offense. Trust me, it's definitely a hidden gem. What you do with this play is, this is a quick snap type of play. This is one where you sort of get him in the middle of his adjustments. What you do is just throw A on a post and slant Y. Simple. Block your running back as well. Just going to look like this. Drag, slant, post, deep post. Take a look at this deep post here with Deshaun Jackson. It's going to beat man coverage. I'll show it for a one-play TD, but the reason this is so successful, and it was successful against me, is I always run coverage the same way I'm showing you guys, like this, with no deep zone in the middle of the field, no inside third. And the reason this play was so successful against me was because I didn't have an inside third, but not only that, what I had to start doing on defense was something like this. Just for one play, I had to start ruining my entire adjustments for the rest of the 6 plays in the offense because of the one play that I could not give up. So here's what something I had to do, and I had to start using the running back. So if they send the running back on a route, my user is pretty much useless. But for now, people are going to run coverage like this. So I'll show it. Take a look at Deshaun Jackson here again. Watch him very closely. Boom. Wide open, deep post against the man coverage. Make sure your fastest guy is there when you're running it. We don't have our fastest guy there, but Deshaun Jackson's still fast. He's pretty much the fastest player on 25 of the teams. So I'm fine with using him. So again, they'll press, they'll shade over the top. They will put these players in curl flats, and then their user. There is 0% chance your user is going to be able to run that deep. I'm just saying it now. You have literally no chance to user that unless you're using the safety far back. But again, you could also lob it. Look at that speed difference. They did get a suction animation, but more times than not, he's going to burn it. Tyreek burned my AJ Terrell multiple times on that pass throughout our game. But again, I'll show it one last time here. Let's say he somehow does user it, or maybe he adjusts like this. It's going to be covered. You got the drag route, you got the slant route. You still have a lot of things you can throw. Drags, very good, very underrated against man coverage. Unless you do some weird motion, they get cross-manned, then drags are useless. But if they're not cross-manned, they are a very good thing to have. And again, if they were to, put RB in an inside third, and then go with that set of adjustments, then that's when you can start throwing A on a cross, A on a post, and he will beat the living breaks off of you. Even slow Zach Ertz is able to beat Desmond Trufant one-on-one on that post. Imagine Jermaine Finley on, any safety on a cross. He's going to just be open for 30 yards every time. And that is one of the keys with this play. You want to get him out of the curl flats. And that's when you can start attacking him vertically, picking up chunk plays instead of checking down. Anyways, let's move on to just another setup out of this. Again, it's going to be very similar. What you'll do is you'll just put B on and out, and then you'll just slant Y. The only difference is B on and out. Instead of that drag route, you'll motion him in. You'll snap him like this. Slant route's going to be very successful against the man coverage like that. We're able to fit it in. Even though it was sort of weirdly cross-manned right there, it's still able to get open, which is always a nice thing to have. Again, I'm not going to talk about that too much, but again, same adjustments. You'll just throw B on and out or zig, whatever you want. And again, also, something I forgot to mention with that inside cross is it's very good against cover 2. So cover 2, money against that as well. So let's hop into our last play of the video, PA post shot. This is a very good play, Madden 19. Pretty useless last year. It's not the best this year, but again, you have a crosser, so crossers beat man coverage like we said earlier. With this setup, what I like to do is just put B on a post, drag B, and then with X, you could either leave him there, or you could just put him on a streak, motion him across the formation, which is what I like to do. The crosser, very successful against man coverage. If they have zone drops, take your drag route. But look at that. See, my zone drops are pretty much going to defend that. I still would have been able to throw it over the top if I had the correct angle on it, but 73 overall receiver combined with not the highest throw power, that's a type of throw you don't want to make. So again, in that case, you can always check down to Marquise Goodwin on a drag route. And again, I like to, even motioning over, the drag's not going to be cross-manned. For some reason, you just got pressed into oblivion. It is what it is. I don't know. I think I forgot to shade over the top, which is why he did get pressed so badly. So again, if I ever forget my adjustment, or if anything ever weird happens, just know it's because I forgot my adjustments. But again, one last time, I'll take a look at it. If they don't have a curl flat on the right, the crosser is going to be wide open. If they do, you take your drag or your post route. Both will be wide open. The post, again, you see it's just getting open every single time on that man coverage. So take advantage of that. That's going to cap off the video. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more videos like this one. Let me know what type of ebook you want me to make next. And yeah, peace. I'm out of here.